Hello, and welcome to the Comic Cave. I'm Ramsey, aka Captain Away, and today I'm looking at the 2015 to 2016 series, Batman/Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Cause it's my channel, I can do what I want. I'm a grown-up! Okay, yes, confession time. I have been a lifelong fan of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. From the 80s cartoon, through all the various other cartoons, movies, and video games that have come since. Not to mention the actual comic books themselves, especially the totally bodacious black and white comic that started it all by introducing us to Leonardo, the leader, Raphael, the angry one, Michelangelo, the party dude, and Donatello, the smart tech one, as well as their adoptive father, Master Splinter. Radical. And yes, I can recite lyrics from memory from Vanilla Ice's Ninja Turtle rap, but no, I'm not going to here. At least, not right now. But stick around, anything could happen. Probably not that though. I've also been a lifelong Batman fan, thanks largely again to a children's cartoon, the Batman animated series, which I still maintain is one of the best animated shows of all time. So you might think that, yeah, obviously Ramsey's gonna like a Batman TMNT crossover, and yeah, that's fair. But actually, when I learned IDW Publishing was planning a crossover with a version of the Turtles and their successful and now long-running comic, and DC's Batman, which would essentially have to be set in the New 52 era since that's what was running at the time, my initial reaction was something along the lines of, well, that's dumb. Company crossovers like this I tend to see as being cash grabs or too silly for their own good. But for this one, the temptation was just too strong, and eventually I caved and checked the comic out anyway. So what the hell? It's the Big Apple, 3 AM. Let's do this. The comic opens on some ninjas attacking some scientists in a lab somewhere. The lights go out, there's the sound of some fighting, and the appearance of some scary green men that we obviously know are the Turtles. Then the ninjas are gone, and so is an important piece of equipment. Ninjas, man. They strike hard and fade away into the night. The entire event is narrated to us, and we see it's by one of the scientists having survived the attack. And then we turn the page and see that who she's talking to is Batman! Oh man, we're already in this crossover? Hell yeah! That means from page 1, this is already happening. No need for slow burns or long establishment of how the two universes have collided. Just kicking it off in media res. I love it. A pizza delivery and some convenient exposition from a news broadcast give us the groundwork we need to know. Multiple tech companies have been hit, experimental technology has been stolen, a scientist named Dr. Naveen Khan has been kidnapped, and our heroes in green are, as always, living in the sewers. If this all feels familiar to you, it's because the opening here is intentionally and directly imitating the openings to both the original cartoon series and the original live-action movie. I love how, if you don't know that, there's nothing weird or awkward about this scene, but if you do know that, it only adds to the already pretty great intro we're getting here. The Turtles' sweet sewer life is interrupted though by the appearance of Killer Croc, and we see that the four bros have been living here long enough to set up a base and even make it home, complete with apparently fully working computers, TVs, and game systems. Croc attempts to lure out the teenagers he's sure are living there with some of the cruelest threats ever. No, not the pony racers! Normally I hate fictional video games, but come on! Death Laser Pony Racers? How is that not pure gold? And it leads to great jokes like this one. This fight also confirms for us that this isn't some silly crossover where the two have supposedly always existed in the same universe and just somehow never heard of each other. Michelangelo's taunt that they're aliens leads to Donatello's completely unnecessary to them, but helpful to us, explanation that they're not aliens, unless you count people from another dimension to be aliens. He also stops just short of telling us some very vital information. Wait, what? What state is Gotham in? Don't leave us hanging, Donnie! Man. Also, if they're not from Gotham, where did they get all that junk to put in their Gotham City vacation sewer home? Batman, meanwhile, has been investigating the robberies. in between working on something he calls the Intimidator suit, and has by now realized that he's looking for some ninja. Maybe thanks to finding rope made in Japan. Maybe through more actual detective work. Regardless, he quickly realizes that the next location to be hit will be his own Wayne Tech building, and shows up to thwart the thieves. And we get a confirmation here that this is indeed the Foot Clan, the longtime enemy of the Ninja Turtles. Batman asks a ninja where his metahumans are, assuming that the Turtles are just regular super beings like you find all over the DC universe. Before the Footman can reveal too much about the plan of the Foot Clan, he's stopped by a shuriken can. Cause it looks like Shredder's also in town and he don't take kindly to no snitches. Admittedly, how epic is it to see these two meet? Pretty epic. Shredhead warns Batman to back off and ninja vanishes like the true boss ninja he is. His leads shut down, Batman returns to his Batmobile, only to find the four turtles already there, admiring it. Still believing the four turtles might be members of the Foot Clan, Batman tests them by fighting them, and it's a great fight with lots of good highlights. That includes Batman stealing one of Raph's sais. Man, Raph, you're always losing your sais. Eventually, Master Splinter decides the fight's gone on for enough pages and drops a wisdom bomb on Batman. Fair point, Splinter, but I still think probably the animal that acts like a man is stranger. Splinter then somewhat ironically copies his archenemy Shredder by smoke bombing out of there. But Splinter, that sneaky rat, actually manages to follow Batman from the fight while he goes about attempting to learn more about the Turtles. With the help of Lucius Fox, in the Sai he stole from Raph, Bruce Wayne manages to determine that the Turtles are from another universe, and also give us a ticking clock. Apparently, the mutagen chemical that made them into the lean green fighting machine that they are, since it isn't native to the DC universe, is becoming inert. Meaning that if they don't get back home, the four bros will revert back to regular turtles. Well, that sounds no bueno. Splinter uses his new knowledge regarding Bruce Wayne to lead his turtle sons through various tunnels and into the Batcave. And we get a fantastic moment of watching the various turtles react to the awesomeness that is Batman's ultimate man cave. Keeping in line with the personality of each turtle, Mikey sees it as a giant playpen, Donnie immediately falls in love with the tech, Leo can't help but think how much he envies what Batman is able to achieve, and Raphael is suspicious and angry. Batman shows up and a fight starts again, but Splinter quickly gets to explaining what is happening and Batman agrees that the best option is for a totally awesome team up! Haha, yeah, you said it, Leo. The heroes all crash Shredder's party as he's been a busy bee. He was the one, as you can probably guess, that kidnapped that scientist, Dr. Naveen Khan, and also had been stealing all that experimental technology in order to build a transdimensional portal so he could bring in his Foot Clan army to Gotham and take over. Bat and the Turtles hoped to rescue Dr. Naveen and capture Shredder in the Foot, but the Shredhead had other plans and simply blows up his portal device instead. And Dr. Khan's head. Khan! Man, that's brutal though. While the Turtles freak out, Shredder attempts to escape, only to discover his men and his escape route have been captured by Mr. Head of the Demon himself, Ra's al Ghul. Man, not only is it so cool to see these two meeting each other, but then also the framing of the art here. Artist Freddie E. Williams II and colorist Jeremy Colwell are really blowing my mind here. In fact, since I'm mentioning it, I love the art throughout this comic. They've captured such a perfect mix between that gruff, wavy indie style of the old Ninja Turtle comics with the more high-end, clean and clear art you'd associate with a big comic title like Batman. I wouldn't have thought it would be possible, but wow, they hit it out of the freaking park here, man. The Turtles go back to the Batcave to lick their wounds, eat some pizza, and worry about what to do next. But while they fight amongst themselves, Roz and Shredder are busy. Shredder discovered a transmission from his own world and manages to get a machine built to pull it through, only to discover that transmission is Casey freaking Jones himself. Casey, for those who aren't massive Turtles fans like me, was created as a bit of a parody of Dirty Harry / Punisher style vigilantes, but he ends up befriending the Turtles in their fight against Shredder and the Foot Clan and chills out a little. A scientist and sort of friend of the Turtles named Harold was able to work out what had happened to the Green Teen team and sent Casey along with some fresh vials of mutagen through to the other world to help them out. Since it's Shredder and not the Turtles that finds him though, he loses the mutagen to the bad guys. And where else are an evil pair of ninjas going to take 5 canisters of pure mutagen other than Arkham Asylum? Oh shit. While Batman, Raph, and Leo are learning all about this from Gordon and Penguin, or as Michelangelo puts it, while they're out on secret Batman missions, doing secret Batman things. The rest of the team, still in the Batcave, are confronted by Damian Wayne. The, fourth Robin? There's too damn many Robins, man. But Damian is my personal favorite, and he quickly shows why when they ask who he is, and his only response is, your worst nightmare. You're like, hey, that's not threatening, even if you pretty much are the world's most skilled assassin. He realizes something's off with these supposed thieves hooking his game console up to the Bat computer, and Batman shows up with a weakened Leonardo to further put an end to the brief fight. It seems Leo has started to feel the effects of the mutagen wearing off. Realizing they're close to death, Casey shows them that he also brought a means for getting back home, and they only have a short time to use it. The Turtles are reluctant to leave their mess in the hands of Batman, but with Leo weak and their chances for getting home slipping away, Batman realizes it's the only way, and they say their goodbyes as Batman and Robin head to Arkham to deal with Roz and Shredder. When they arrive, they discover that the deadly duo have, of course, used the mutagen on the Arkham inmates, creating mutant versions of Batman's classic rogues gallery. I love this bit. Seeing this new take on classic enemies, some are pretty obvious, like Scarecrow being a crow or Penguin, penguin. Others seem like they should have been obvious, like of course Mad Hatter is a rabbit and Bane is an elephant. I love it. But some are kind of weird. I don't really get the praying mantis for Poison Ivy, but I guess what would have worked? And King Cobra for Joker? Why? Is he snake-like at all? Can we see just how snake-like he can be? My favorite though is definitely Mr. Freeze, the polar bear. That's like the greatest thing ever. See, Mikey agrees when they decide to forego their escape chance and follow Batman to Arkham. Okay, now say something about the Ice Age. Oh, Mr. Freeze. The Turtles also brought along a finished version of that Intimidator suit Batman had been working on at the beginning, and he climbs into it so he can have a face-off with Shredder, which happens, mostly, in an absolutely awesome single page featuring a mix of a splash in the front and a bunch of tiny panels illustrating the fight in the background. So cool. A+, good job. While Batman takes down Shredder, the Turtles manage to take down Roz with some teamed up turtle power, though he does end up escaping. Casey then reappears, this time with April, in order to provide a very convenient route home for the Turtles. It does feel like a bit of a cheap cheat to get the Turtles home after all that worrying about it, but with how strong the rest of the comic was, I can forgive them that much. Besides, they offer a pretty lengthy explanation on how this is possible. Thanks, April Exposition. And that actually wraps up this adventure, so I guess that means it's pizza time! Yeah, you can probably tell I pretty much loved this comic. Despite expecting it to be a cheap crossover, James Tynion IV definitely clearly had a lot of respect for both franchises, and present a story that would really feel right at home for either mythos. And it does that exceedingly well. I especially love the way the comic jumps right into the action, wasting no time getting to the characters and story, but also does give a chance to rather naturally introduce backstories for each side. First in Splinter explaining to Batman why he can trust the Turtles, and then in Batman explaining to Raphael that he's not just a spoiled rich boy on an adrenaline high like Raph assumed. It gives a chance for there to not only be a great group story, but also chance for individual characters to grow and change within the story. I can't even say much about what would probably be my one complaint, and that's that there isn't enough side characters, like we barely get to see April, and where are characters like Nightwing and my favorite lady Batgirl. But it's clear that they wanted to focus on Batman and the Turtles, and especially knowing now that they've always intended for there to be a second and even third volume, I think that was really a good decision. and I have to add that it's also an absolutely hilarious comic. I found myself genuinely laughing out loud multiple times while reading this comic, and it was seriously so hard not to post every single funny moment. Hey, I gotta leave some incentive for you to read it yourselves, right? So I'm giving this series a recommendation level of very high. Okay, I'm sure there's humorless people out there who might not find something to enjoy with this comic, but this manages to be a great comic for both longtime fans and people new to one or even both of the franchises. Seriously, A+, good job. The collected edition gets one delicious greasy pizza. It's a great comic, and the collection includes dozens of alternate covers. There's also a deluxe edition that includes all the same content, plus a massive amount of bonus material including sketches, creator commentary, script-to-page breakdown, and even a director's cut of issue 1, pre-colors. That collection can also have a delicious greasy pizza, because why not? Pizza for everyone! Thanks everybody for watching! As I said, there are 2 more comics in this series, and yes, I will be covering them for the next 2 weeks as I count down to my birthday month, and hopefully to 100 subscribers. Make sure to click that subscribe button to help me hit my goal, and then stick around next week for part 2. Till then, I'm Captain Way, thanks for coming to my Turtle Talk.